Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to say a few words this evening about the rapid advancements that we are witnessing when it comes to the capability of artificial intelligence models. I don't refer just to some of the narrow applications that folks are familiar with, that they might take advantage of in their work, that they might fear eventually replacing them in work. These are sort of the narrow conceptions that exist in public discourse, but the broader situation here involves the explicit goal of the leading labs to create what is known as artificial general intelligence, which is incredibly capable models that exceed human capability across essentially any domain. And I find it stunning that some of the advancements that we've seen lately have gone essentially unnoticed, unreported on by the media. What we've seen just in the last few weeks, I think on several occasions, there should have been front page stories about the dramatic advances that have been made given the capacity these advances hold for transforming our lives, our economy, our society, and much else. So what I wanted to do today is present a few just basic thoughts on and pieces of information on the development and the innovation that's been taking place. And I'm someone that has no technical expertise in this area at all. I just try to follow it closely because I believe the changes that will be upon us soon are so profound. And to get just kind of a flavor for the scale of change that I'm talking about, here are a few quotes from leaders in the field. From Sundar Pichai, who's the CEO of Google. He says, AI is probably the most important thing humanity has ever worked on. I think of it as something more profound than electricity or fire. Demis Hassabis, who is the founder of DeepMind, echoed these sentiments. He said, AI should not be thought of as just another technology. He said, it is more epoch-defining than even the internet or mobile, more like electricity or fire. Sam Altman, who of course is the head of OpenAI, said, with these new abilities, we can have shared prosperity to a degree that seems unimaginable today. In the future, everyone's lives can be better than anyone's life is now. Eventually, we can each have a personal AI team full of virtual experts in different areas working together to create almost anything we can imagine. Along those lines, Elon Musk, who in addition to his other ventures is the founder of xAI, says that, quote, AI will ultimately render money meaningless. Why is that? Because he believes the capabilities will essentially allow any person access to basically any good that they desire. Dario Amodei, who is the CEO at another lab, Anthropic, says that it is his guess that powerful AI could accelerate the rate of scientific discoveries by a factor of 10, giving us the next 50 to 100 years of biological progress in just the next 5 to 10 years. And we're already seeing incredible applications such as AlphaFold from DeepMind, which Demis Hassabis recently won the Nobel Prize for, which has predicted the 3D structures of over 200 million proteins, is essentially solving the protein folding problem. At the recent unveiling of the Stargate initiative, Mr. Altman was joined by Larry Ellison, who also spoke about the potential to cure cancer and essentially any other disease. So this might all sound pretty vague, certainly very optimistic. Maybe it sounds like hype. So I wanted to present a couple of charts that really clearly make this point, not only about the ultimate potential of AI models, but about the rapid acceleration that we are right now, currently, in the midst of. So this chart is one metric of basically how smart a model is. It's called the GPQA diamond. And so if you look at the chart here, this axis is how well it does on the test. the model. This axis is when the model was released, and the different models over time are the X's there. And the chart doesn't actually go back that far. It just goes back to July of 2023, and we're looking at basically 35% for one of the models then. And you see that the line continues to go up steadily, a little bit at a time. And now, just in the last few weeks, you've seen this truly exponential growth rate. Those are both OpenAI models that are listed there, O1 Pro and O3. I guess the number O2, there was some trademark issue, so they jumped right from 1 to 3. But that shows you that we are on a rapidly accelerating curve. And we now have a second chart that I think makes this point even more clearly. Because one of the problems with the benchmarks that are being used to judge the capability of models is they get saturated very quickly. The models are becoming so much smarter that they ace the exam, and so the exam isn't good for anything anymore. So you had this effort to come up with what they called humanity's last exam, saying once they can solve this, then they've solved just about anything. So this was unveiled, and the model's GPT-4o, which is actually the model that most people use. If you just go to ChatGPT, that's the one that is sort of defaulted to. Didn't do so well, 3.3%. However, we are now up to the latest model that OpenAI has released, 26.6%. I included this tweet from, I think this actually is a reporter, who said, when I wrote about humanity's last exam, the leading AI model got an 8.3% score. 5 models now surpass that, and the best model gets 26.6%. That was 10 days ago. So in 10 days, we've gone from 8.3% to 26.6% on humanity's last exam. By the way, you'll see that DeepSeek is here at a respectable 9.4%. This is kind of the exception, where you have seen a lot of media coverage of an advancement in AI, but the coverage really focused on the geopolitical implications of having this breakthrough come from a Chinese company. Now, of course, that is a very, very serious and concerning topic, but kind of lost in the coverage was perhaps the more important point of what it means for all of us, for humanity collectively, when we see this sort of exponential growth in the capability of these AI models. And what is essentially driving this very recent now trend of exponential growth is the advent of unlocking a new scaling law around what's called test time compute. So for a while, the way that these models were getting more capable was by scaling up the computation that went into training them. So you train the model, and they became more and more powerful as you use more and more GPUs and compute to train them, and then after a fine-tuning process, you end up releasing them and folks use them. So what is now happening is that sort of scaling law has leveled off some, but now the new scaling law that's been unlocked is when you, the user, actually enter a query into a Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever your model is, it'll take time to sort of think about the answer. And it's then we're scaling up the compute that is involved in that thinking process. So they're called thinking or reasoning models. And just in whatever it was, a few weeks when OpenAI went from the O1 model to the O3 model, we saw this incredible increase in capability, and there's not really any sign that it's slowing down. And so the implication of that is that we might see even more rapid and even more astonishing advances very soon. And it is pretty astonishing what these systems can accomplish even now. I mean, I'm someone who doesn't know how to write a line of code, but you can go to these latest models and say, I can basically design you a rudimentary computer game instantly by just telling the model what to code. And then for some of them, like Claude, it'll actually produce some version of it right there for you, or others you can just cut and paste it into some other application, but then it creates the application for you. So, on the last chart, it said we're now kind of above the level of a PhD in their field, which is a pretty high bar to begin with. And the acceleration ahead could be further stimulated by the fact that this applies to many fields, but also to computer science. So you could well see In fact, you're already seeing it to some extent, and it's likely to pick up dramatically. The models themselves that are working on their own coding, that are contributing to their own growth and capability. You're also, by the way, seeing models that are built around solving specific problems. I mentioned AlphaFold, or models built around discovering new materials. And then you also have uses of AI that are guiding action in the physical world, such as self-driving cars. If you don't live in LA or San Francisco or Phoenix, you probably haven't ridden in a Waymo, but it works incredibly well as a driverless vehicle. It's surpassed the market share of Lyft, I believe, now in San Francisco. And this has been made possible largely by AI, or similarly, Tesla's self-driving system is available in millions of cars being trained with a neural network. And none of this also accounts for the potential of quantum computing, where Google recently achieved an incredible breakthrough, and the interaction of quantum and AI could lead to even more staggering results. So this acceleration is happening very, very fast, and my purpose in talking about it is not to say, is not a call for regulation, although I do think some regulation is appropriate, but ultimately no regulation is going to stop this, or really even dramatically slow down this progress. I mean, the example of DeepSeek and what China is working on makes that point very clearly. I do, however, think that we need to invest heavily in research around AI safety and alignment. And I think what we really need to ask are just some fundamental questions about how we might prepare for the radical transformation that could be upon us very soon. We need more public awareness of what's going on and more voices involved, because right now, the advance from OpenAI's latest models from o1 to o3 isn't really a topic of public discussion, isn't a headline in any major newspaper. The discourse is really limited to those who work at these labs or work adjacent to them in Silicon Valley, or some fairly small online communities who are talking about these things. But they're increasingly becoming very relevant to the lives of all of us. And so I think we need to have more voices involved in shaping how we manage this technology, how we prepare for what's ahead, and how we can identify and preserve the values that really matter to us as a nation and as humanity in the face of this radical change. So to that end, I'm planning to continue to give regular updates from this floor on advances in artificial intelligence, advances towards AGI, artificial general intelligence, or ASI, and the implications that it might have. And I do this, again, as someone who's not an expert in this area, that doesn't understand the technology at a deep level, but believes that its implications are so profound that we need to have everyone in our country involved in considering how we prepare for it.